Good afternoon from the Skyline Studios high above Cape Coral here in sunny Southwest Florida. We've got music, we've got sunshine, and some great conversation coming up with our guest, Madison Morris. I'm Ken Ullman, and this is the Endless Summer Podcast. So here at the Endless Summer Podcast, we talk about music, the restaurant, the bar scene, and other local happenings in the Cape Coral Fort Myers area. But mostly, we want to tell the stories of the singers and the songwriters that make Southwest Florida a great place to hear live music and some very talented people. So before we get into our conversation with Madison Morris, a big shout out to our sponsor, Rum Runners. They're located right here in Cape Harbor at the southern tip of Cape Coral. They've got great waterfront views, live music 7 days a week, great drinks, and a friendly staff. Best of all, awesome food. So they're open every day from 12 noon, and if you get a chance to stop in, I promise you will not be disappointed. All right, so living in Southwest Florida is really like being in an endless summer, and with that comes great live music, which brings me to today's guest, Mr. Madison Morris.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Happy to have you here. Yeah,
Happy to be
absolutely. Before we get into the conversation with Madison, always have to ask that one question. Are you a native Floridian?
I am not, but I have been here, I think it's 17, 18 years or so. I've figured some things out about being here.
That's longer than most that I've met. So, but the good thing is we're also batting 1,000 on the podcast because we have not had a native Floridian on yet. So you're from, I thought I read Texas.
Yes. I'm originally from Texas. I lived all over Texas for the first half of my life. I've kind of told people I'm half Texan and half Floridian, so I don't really know what chance I stand in the world. But at the same time, maybe I've got a better one than most people. I don't know, but it's still unfolding. So
two great states, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Texas. Actually, spent a lot of time there years ago for work. So big fan of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially. So what brought you to Florida?
Actually, back in, I think it was my dad. He got a job here, and I didn't have anything necessarily going on in my life at the time. And he said, "Hey, we're looking at Fort Myers, Cape Coral area." I pulled it up on the internet, and I'm like, "I'm going with you."
Yeah, I can do that.
I saw the blue water, the white sand. I saw the canals. Actually, I didn't really discover Cape Coral until we got here and what it was. But yeah, waterfront wonderland, 400 miles of canals. They're like, "Do you want to go with us?" I'm like, "Yeah."
It's it's interesting because I volunteer for Lee County Sheriff's, and obviously, so I get to see some of the data about the area. I was amazed how many islands there are in Lee County.
Oh yeah,
like 500 and some odd islands in Lee County. No idea. I had no idea.
I've been here this long, and I still keep learning about things. And it took me a good 10 years of being here because there's only like 3 or 4 animals in Texas that can really harm you.
Oh right.
I'm still learning about them in this state.
Now that's a first. We haven't talked about that, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I went swimming. I went snorkeling when I got here, and they're like, "Don't go by the pier." I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "There's all these different kinds of sharks and all these other." And I'm like, "Okay, this is a new place." So
yeah, the alligator thing too. And I think when I came to Florida, it's the first time I saw an armadillo too. Like I never.
Well, we had those in Texas, and we had alligators over in Louisiana. I was right by Louisiana most of the time, but some of the other stuff was very new to me. Yeah,
very interesting place. And I know we chatted a little bit. Obviously, you definitely had some serious damage from Hurricane Ian.
Yes. I was like, thousands, if not tens of thousands of other people. We were down, we were fortunate enough to live by the water most of the time, but and then we ended up, we were down by the Cape Coral Yacht Club, and there's a line in the song that I've been putting out recently, and it's that, open your front door and you see everything. There was a water line on the house, and I mean, thousands of people went through it. And I've kind of gotten to the point where, it's about rebuilding now. It's about bringing the area back to, I mean, it won't ever be what we remember it as if we were here beforehand, but there's an opportunity to make a lot of things really good.
Exactly.
And I mean, I will tell you, as far as being affected by Ian, I think that the one thing that just was mind-blowing was the music community after this.
Yeah.
The way that they came together, unplugged or not, they would set up shop anywhere.
I heard, yes.
And they would just make people just try to forget about the thing that they just went through.
And I guess my only hope from the perspective of rebuilding structurally, right, is that Fort Myers Beach is rebuilt hurricane rated. And so that if something, God forbid, in the next 100 years happens again, the people don't have to go through the same thing. And they're going to do that. They're going to obviously build.
And I've played out there recently, and it was really interesting. I played at the Whale, and I played at the Yucatan Beach Stand for the Island Hopper Songwriter Festival.
Oh yeah.
And it looks wildly different out there. I was never one that went out there all the time, but it looks wildly different, but it looks like they're putting it back together. It was nice to see the clock tower going back up. It was nice to see some of the buildings getting their footing again. And Fort Myers Beach is a fun place.
It is a fun place.
As long as they get it rebuilt, that's the cool thing.
And it's coming back one piece at a time, and
it has to.
Yeah, you said, like it has to. Yeah, because nothing's going to happen fast.
Right.
Because there's only so many construction people and companies that go around that can do this stuff. That's what I've noticed. Sanibel's the same way. I take my boat by there, and you see there's still just tons of apartments and condos. They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And you hope it comes back. So what got you started playing music? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I don't know how long it's been, but it's since I was about 15 years old. Actually, I got started because my cousin used to play at our family gatherings. And both of my cousins actually there's a lot of my family that have musical ability, and there was one, I think Christmas or something, where I had showed an interest in the guitar, and he let me borrow his guitar. It was actually, I started on a Regal Resonator. And
wow, I don't know that one.
kind of like a dobro with a big cone in it.
Oh yeah.
So I started there. I took lessons from a guy in Texas, and really got brought up on the blues. Really got brought up on just the roots of music, and the guitar was always something that I could go and just get lost in it. So it was a nice.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. And it stays with you your whole life.
It does.
No matter where you go, no matter what happens to you, you can always pick up a guitar and play it. And I've been lucky enough to have that same experience, and I'm happy with that. So when did you play your first, when did you start actually playing out in places?
Well, I think all through my 20s there was, dotted here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken up a very, professional course in my life through my 20s, and I didn't really. I actually got to play some at events and things, and I did that, and I played with several bands, and it was. But yeah, that was it's always kind of been in and out, and any opportunity I ever had to play the guitar, obviously I jumped.
You just take it, and I was the same way, and I was the same. How about singing? Did you always sing when you played, or did you sort of grow into that with another band or something?
Actually, this is one of those funny points that as you get older, your parents tend to tell you different things, and no fault on their part, because I get it now.
Yeah.
But I actually what made me want to sing was I saw Elton John sing at Princess Di's at her funeral.
Oh, yeah.
He sang "Candle in the Wind," and he had updated it from Marilyn Monroe to fit more, the Princess Di thing. So I really took that and I started singing, and I had a microphone and I think an old Mitsubishi system I plugged it into.
Oh, neat.
And my parents were, at the time were like, "Oh, you're so good. We got to find you, vocal lessons." And they're like, later on down the road, they're like, "We heard you singing. We had to get you vocal lessons. We know you don't give up. We know you have that focus and you don't give up." So I ended up taking vocal lessons from, he was an operatic singer. He was also, he did I think he did some Broadway, but he was a very, very good coach. He was, and he taught me more than just, the voices. I've really learned that your voice is something that you can really derive, just a lot of different things in life.
Well, and breathing is everything when singing
absolutely.
too. And I took some lessons as well. And I think you'd probably agree with this. I would recommend any young artist that's trying to get out, because there's a lot. If you go around this area, there's a lot of 19, 20-year-olds out there playing. And what I notice is, with YouTube and everything, it's pretty easy. They pick up instruments really quick, but very few of them have vocal coaching.
Right, and I think that's important.
I think it's very important.
It's very important just
to be
because
successful.
Well, because most, without making too much commentary on it, the artists are under a lot of pressure now to perform and keep going and do all that. So just the ability to learn to take care of your voice is something that can.
That's a good point.
Because I play anywhere from I'm singing 12 to 15 hours a week.
Right.
So learning how to take care of and not push it too hard but still learning how to project and learning how to
right,
make it, you know, to bring it to where it's got some emotion, it's got some articulation, it's got things like that. It's
well, and you know, if it, depending on your aspirations, right? So, you know, if you're a young 19-year-old kid and you're trying to get somewhere big, let's say, right? Yeah, there's YouTube and everything, but take a run to Nashville sometime and listen to every singer in every bar that you walk down the street. And I did that once, and it's like everyone's better than the next.
Yeah.
You know, and what it does is it humbles you and makes you say, you know what, I want to be that good.
Yeah.
And sometimes being that good requires, just like guitar playing, you know, a lot of people should take lessons, and that's a good thing. So same thing with vocals. So.
Well, and it teaches you more things. Like when you're learning from people, it teaches you about life some ways.
It does.
You know, you've got this thing this voice that can really make people feel good, or it can really get you into trouble.
Yeah, or you get you, yeah, exactly.
You know, so nowadays especially, but.
So what type of music do you play mostly? More countryside, more, obviously being from Texas, blues?
I think, you know, recently I just got notified last weekend, I think, that I had made the official ballot for the Grammys and for Best Americana Performance.
Oh my God, congratulations.
That's
amazing.
There's still a process to go through and everything, but I made the ballot for that. So Americana, I kind of say, you know, everybody wants to put a genre on everything.
Yeah.
And that's been something since I was in my, you know, I was earlier and everybody talked about genres and is it this? And then it started being fusion this or partly this, partly that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna get one put on you, I think Americana is.
That's a good. Yeah,
I think
it's
it's the best way to describe me because I mean I'll play anything. Whenever I play out, I play anything from Sublime to Jamie Johnson. I play country. I play reggae. I play. You know, so I'm influenced. I've got a broad set of influences. Some of them I can't even bring to bear.
Because that was going to be my next question: is what do you play when you're out? So, because now I do know you play originals because you're going to share one with us in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to hear that, by the way. But I always ask, like, you know, what do you? And you do a mix of your own. I'm assuming when you play out.
Yeah. I throw my own originals in there. I also throw a lot of my guitar playing. I use a looper to do the acoustic and the electric sound. But I play. I try to pick songs that make you think. Because I try to pick songs that I think maybe people, you know, and do even different versions of them. Like I play Fortunate Son, and I play it slower. I actually do a mashup with In Color by Jamie Johnson, where I kind of put the two songs together because they're very similar in chord structure.
Yeah.
And I just try to, you know, I try to cover some of the great songs from the 60s, 70s. I try to throw a Jimi Hendrix in there every once in a while.
I like that. I really like people that mix it up. And I play in our duo, you know, we do the same thing. We mix it up. Of course, we have a girl and a guy singer, right? So obviously it's really easy for the two of us. We both sing lead, so, you know, you can mix it up. But I also, like you, I like to take chances with certain songs that people will be like, wow, I remember that song, you know, and they may not expect to hear it, you know, and some they probably go, I don't ever want to hear it again, but others are like, man, I can't believe they're playing that, I love that song, you know, and that's good, because to me, with all the musicians that are around here, if you want to get gigs, you gotta mix it up, you gotta be good at what you do, and you gotta have a variety of sounds and styles when you're out there.
And you gotta have some fun, and sometimes that gets hard whenever, you know, it's a 3-hour gig, that's hard to keep the energy level up, but overall I think when I try to play out, I try to give people an actual, you know, a good musical experience at the same time, not, you know, impose on their dinner or things like that. And it's mostly just, you know, I said the vibrance of this place. I try to add to it. That's something that's real important.
And you know what I hear in your voice talking about this that's I think is really great is that you care. You know, like you care about what you know the people think, and you want them to be happy with what you're doing, and you want to what's the word, embellish or enhance their experience right at the restaurant. And you care enough to think about that. I think that's super important.
Well, I think people should. I mean, music is something that can really, you know, it can really get like. Can make you forget about the things going on today.
I couldn't agree more.
I think Tom Petty said it, that if I can for 2 hours make somebody forget about the problems in their life, then I've done my job.
Then you've done your job.
So absolutely. Anywhere I'm at doing that, whether it's a big stage playing originals or if I'm out playing locally, it's always that. I'm trying to help people, you know, either forget or cope or you know, just music to me has always been a problem solving thing where you see insight into somebody else and the problems they've had. And hopefully, you know, that comes across, and otherwise. hopefully it's fun too.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's, I learned something, I saw something the other day, it's not what we do, it's who we are.
Yeah.
It's musicians. It's not being a musician, not what you do. It is who you are. So you have a song you're going to share with us, but before you do that, I want to hear the story about the guitars. Because I know you said you lost a couple in Ian, but you also just you've refurbished a few. So
I've helped a couple of guitars that people got knocked around in the storm. I've helped them I also make my own guitars. So
oh wow.
I've luckily, before we left the place we were staying before the storm, we had put some of the guitars up. There was 3 of them that didn't make the cut, but they one of them was actually my first guitar, and nothing was salvageable on it. The other one was the guitar. I have a song out called Florida Man. Okay. And this is funny, like, to go around, like, there's a lot of people that, the guitarists will know what I'm saying here, but there's guitar snobs, and then there's, people that have certain preferences.
Yeah,
it's got to be this instrument. I had a $99 Fender Squier that I had bought on a special of July 4th, and I actually recorded Florida Man with it.
There you go.
I didn't use the big, I have all these other guitars, but most of my instruments were like 3 inches above the water line when we went into the house. Wow. And I was running in there like a firefighter grabbing, pulling people out. And
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I was fortunate being up here. I say up here for the folks. Yeah. We're looking out the 11th floor window here is what you're looking at. But I was fortunate enough to just lose some balcony screens and my balcony fan. But otherwise. But man, I saw what happened. I drove around on Fort Myers Beach as part of my volunteer thing, and man, it was just devastated. So I can only imagine. I'm glad glad you're healthy, glad you're back and you're contributing, and that's what I'm doing too. By us doing this kind of thing, we're contributing. Bringing music back to Fort Myers Beach and Southwest Florida strong. Right?
Yeah. You just have to keep going.
And exactly.
It's not giving us much option.
No, it doesn't give us.
Everybody's had their moments where it's kind of like, how are we going to come back from this? But you just keep going. That's all you can do.
And you wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
So called "We're All Still Here."
We're all still here, and I've actually, on this one, it's like I said, it just made the official Grammy ballot. So, and we have awesome. A QR code that we've been trying to put out there. I have committed any streaming revenue that the song ever makes in the future, I've committed to bring back to the community.
Oh, that's
in ways
awesome.
that
There's
certain things that. There's still certain things that are just a mess. That, like you said, there's only so many construction people. There's only so much of a rate that and I just want to add to that. Because it's going to be an ongoing process, and it's. I'm really hoping to see to kind of prove that there is a way for music to actually bring something back to a community to do something sizable. That but it takes everybody out there sharing it. Putting it out wherever they can and listening to it. I've even got it for the price on the page where you can download it.
Oh, okay.
I've even got the price set at $239 for the area code. So,
wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So but it does rely on everybody that if you're watching this.
So then what we'll do is aside from the website on the screen that you're seeing. We will get that QR code out somehow, either in the post on YouTube or on the Facebook page. But I'll make sure it comes along with when we post the podcast and everything. So because that's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear it. I'm ready.
All right.
So this is Mr. Madison Morris and your song "We're All Still Here."
All right, this is it. Saw the sunrise for the first time since the king. Look into my neighbor's eyes and all I see is pain. And closing my own eyes as I open my front door, hoping it was all just a nightmare on the Lee County shore. And we're all still here, 100,000 floating cars, but man, you should have seen the stars. And we're all still here. We lost a good few, but those those of us that remain will raise a beer. The skyline has changed, so many local places gone. But just like the people of the islands, you know we'll carry on. And saw the Black Hawks out your way today, and I hope they rescued you just the same way we know the islands can save troubled souls too. And we're all still here, 100,000 floating cars, but man, you should have seen the stars. And we're all still here. We lost a good few, but those of us that remain will raise a beer. And we are not lost, and our hearts are not broke, and we are not lost, 'cause I know that we'll rebuild it all. Still here, 100,000 floating cars, but man, you should have seen the stars. And we're all still here. We lost a good few, but those of us that remain will raise a beer.
Man, that was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome. I'm getting choked up here. Wow.
It's all right. I had to figure that out too.
Yeah, I mean, that hits home like big time, because I know a lot of people that, wow, that's just, yeah, that was awesome. I wish you absolute best of luck with it.
Thank you.
You know, we're obviously going to stay in touch on this and, you know, help you promote that Grammy thing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big thing, and it's certainly. Wow. I said it's for all Lee County. I've been here for a while, and you know, one of the things that makes us all happy is seeing this place kind of have the hum of life to it that it does, and everybody's fighting to get back there. So I'm just on that side.
I got a couple ideas too. We'll chat about.
Absolutely.
So you can catch Madison at Finn's and a couple other places, right? Where else?
Yeah, I play all around here. I play Finn's is one. There's Cork Soakers.
Cork Soakers, right?
I play it. I've been playing at Stet's Winkler House. I've been playing. Let's see. There's places out on the island, the Low Key Tiki, the Eagle's Nest,
Pine Island,
absolutely,
right?
Pine Island. I played on Fort Myers Beach. I play the Whale. I think there's a couple more out there coming up, but I'm just keeping on going and keeping on playing, and I'm loving it when people show up. That really makes it for me when people show up and they listen and they have a good time and they interact and all that. It's just nice to see, you know, to see life out there and participate in it.
You know, aside from being a great songwriter, you got a great story, you know, and it's important, and it's just awesome to hear. So,
Well, I definitely have a life full of anecdotes, and I wish it'd slow down a little bit, but for right now, I'm taking it as it comes, and I'll just keep playing.
By the way, you can also catch Madison at his website, which you see on the screen here. That's MadisonMorrisMusic.com, and then also on Facebook at Madison Morris Music as well. So we will see you in a couple of weeks with another awesome guest. But in the meantime, from the Skyline Studios, first of all, big thanks to our sponsor, Rum Runners, and a huge thanks to our guest, Mr. Madison Morris.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been a great day, and I'm really glad we got to talk.
Absolutely.
And looking forward to staying in touch about some things. So in the meantime, enjoy your endless summer here in Southwest Florida. I'm Ken Ullman, and this is the Endless Summer Podcast.